For me, for me, the role was something I never usually get offered anything that extreme or dramatic, and in the context of the story, it was something I thought I could bring a lot to. And then knowing that somebody like Ben was helming it, I felt very confident that he'd bring the right things out and push me to my limits, and that's what he did, and it was a really enjoyable experience. I'm totally glad I did it. Every day had a funny moment, I think. We considering how dark some of those scenes were to shoot, and some of the subject matter was difficult to process, we had a very lovely, warm environment on set. We enjoyed it. I mean, it was funny for everybody else, I know, but not for me. Having to spend almost 20 days covered in blood, which is not fun, with pieces of prosthetic.
It's so easy to write as well. You know, I imagine Amy just going, "Oh yeah, Wilder's covered in blood," like that. It's as easy as that.
She just wrote it in 2 seconds, not realising how much pain that would have caused me. How many times I had to peel away my clothes after 16 hours of congealed blood all over my.
But you never complained.
I never complained. True professional. Hello. Oh shit. One second. Hello.
I'd like to know, within how controversial your character is, the difficulty that it was, from my point of view. What was most difficult to portray in your character, and what was the easiest part, shall we say? How did you... Give us your opinion on the character. What do you reckon?
Well, I guess, like I said earlier, the reason why I took it in the first place was because it was going to challenge me and challenge my abilities to portray someone who was very unlike me as a human being. I don't think there's much of him that... Well, maybe there is, I don't know. Maybe there's parts of him that are like me. I remember when I first read the role, there was a few people that came to mind, real people, and the one was Oliver Reed, the actor Oliver Reed, who was, as we know, was a hellraiser on and off the screen. And so I sort of did a lot of research on him to build the character and create a persona, which seemed to work very well because we were also in the 70s. His look from the 70s worked very well, so we stole a lot from the look of Mr. Reed. The darker sides of Wilder were, be truthful, they weren't easy to do. They were very hard scenes. The one that sticks out for me is the one between Sienna and myself, which was very, very hard. It was a hard day. We knew it was coming, and we knew it had to be done, and it was part of it was an important part of both of our journeys, but it was very difficult, and you just have to dig deep and just get on with it and hope that you've done what needs to be done. It was, everybody, even for Ben or anybody in the room, when those moments happen, it's very hard to watch it, to film it, to listen to it, and to act it. It was, so I was glad. So were you when that day was over, weren't we, darling?
It was pretty traumatising for the crew as well. Not to jump on, your experience of it, but it was.
It's like having sex in front of people on camera. That's just. It's horrible, isn't it, Ben? Yeah.
When they're watching.
It's like the most alien thing you can ever do. No one, I don't know anybody who likes doing it because it just feels completely wrong and uncomfortable. Although saying all of that, but when I watched the film for the first time, and this really happens, I've never had it before, but I watched it, and there must have been about 5 or 6 moments during the film where I have no memory of shooting it. No memory whatsoever. And some of them were the darker moments, granted. So I don't know what Ben put in my coffee that morning, but it certainly worked.
For Luke, you've demonstrated a great portrayal. You're the perfect Gaston. I would like to know whether you've had to learn to sing as well, because Sienna, for example. Sienna, it's a beautiful film. Last year you were in 2 of the most important films of the year, First Catcher and The Sharpshooter, I think she said. And we've got more of it. Is it easier for British actresses to play more interesting roles in the UK than in Hollywood? And for Tom, to ask you, the Asgard kingdom, how does it see? Is it similar to the film, to what happens in the building? You always portray roles of a villain or roles which are curious at the end of the day, at least.
Wow, that's one varied selection of questions. Did I have to learn how to sing? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
No. I've sung all my life. I'm Welsh. Welsh people sing. We're born singing. I spent 10 years of my career singing on stage, doing the musicals. And then I waited another 8 years to find the job which gave me the chance to bring my musical abilities to the screen. So it was one of those lucky moments, and I got the job and got to sing, and I loved every minute of it.
Is it easier to play more interesting roles in Britain? I don't know necessarily. I think it's difficult for actresses to find really great roles, and that's something which I think is being more and more exposed. No, I think there's good material everywhere if you're lucky enough to find it and become a part of it. I don't know what I'm talking
As far as I'm aware, there are no similarities between the high-rise and Asgard.
I don't know, Asgard's like quite high up.
Asgard, there's a verticality, I suppose, in both places.
Yeah. Odin could be.
Oh, yeah. Last time I checked, Loki lives on the top floor. Yeah. And the second part of your question, I'm always drawn to complicated people. But that's because I think people are complicated. That's just my experience of the world. I'm aware it's a very unique one, but I think people have lots of different layers. So I'm always drawn to if they are outwardly, if they have a sort of outwardly villainous aspect, I want to find their sympathetic qualities. If they are outwardly sort of likable, I want to find their flaws. And as regards the dancing, I just don't know, I'm afraid. I didn't learn anywhere particularly, apart from a misspent youth in the 90s at random nightclubs in London. That's my best explanation for it. I may actually think that I'm significantly out-danced in this film by Luke Evans to my right. So maybe he'd like to speak about his history of dancing training.
Hot potato.
Like I said, I don't remember doing it. I have no memory of that.
Yeah.
That might be more concussion than anything.
I think the secret of the dancing in this was about...
I don't remember doing it.
Yeah. It was about lack of inhibition in the end.
It was quite good. It was the last day, wasn't it? I think where we did all that dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was quite giddy.
I couldn't move the following day, literally.